Good evening. Welcome to the Everton show. Last one before Christmas. Hope you've got all your presents sorted, and if you haven't, you're running out of time. Quite a packed little chat tonight. 3 games to cover, and starting with a victory, which is what we've been waiting for a while. I know we sort of got the victory at Fulham a few weeks ago, but it's felt a long time since. So to turn over Chelsea last Saturday was just a tremendous result, I think, and not a great deal that we've accepted. So as ever tonight, got Callum Don Keogh with me. Let's kick it off, guys. What did we reckon on Saturday?
Well, I'd like to say, first of all, it sounded like there was about 20,000 in the ground, so well done to you two and the other, the 2,000 fans that made it sound good, and I think got us over the line.
I think there's no doubt about that, Dawn. I think it was strange when we first arrived in the ground and there was hardly anyone there. I mean, we were told to get there an hour and a half before because everyone was given times to arrive. I don't think I've ever been in the ground an hour and a half before kick-off, and it was strange. But it was once the team came out and you heard the siren and the Z cars, you're right, 2,000 people sounded a lot more. And I think when it came down to digging in the last 10, 15 minutes, he certainly seemed to make a difference. And if you look at the interviews afterwards, like Sir Sigerson and the numerous players have said, it made a massive difference to them. So yeah, it was great to be back. And I know you're going for the Arsenal game, Dawn, so it's your turn next. But Cal, what did you reckon, mate?
Yeah, it was boss to be back. Like, I was a bit dubious of what it would be like, but I mean, Dawn's obviously heard it on telly. Like, the noise level was actually quite good, and it was just a positive because everyone just wanted to be there. You know what I mean? The siren was about 10 minutes long, though, weren't it?
Well, they dragged that out a bit, yeah.
Yeah, it was really good to be back. Well round, club got everything in order, quick checks and whatnot. So yeah, really good. I'm sure Dawn will enjoy it. And yeah, I think it definitely did make a difference to the players. I mean, they'll be playing in an atmosphere with no people tomorrow, won't they? So we'll see how they fare with that. But yeah, it was really good.
I think, to be fair to people, if you are going either this weekend or Manchester City, or none of us know whether we're going to the Man United game or not, then I think, to be fair to the club, as Cal said, they have got it right. The time slots are there to make sure that you can get through your checks and get into the ground. So I would say to people, as far as you can, stick to your allocation to turn up. Be aware, there's not many pubs open. I think there's only the Weatherspoons and a couple. So and the Brick, yeah, and there wasn't many chippies open either. So plan your food as well. You can take your food in, but you can't take any cans in. So if you plastic bottles is the way to do it, I think. So I think they're the top little tips, I think, Cal.
And sniff.
What's that?
You look in your bottles and sniff.
Yeah. So Stuart's noses, I think they're checking for vodka for you mixed in with your Coca-Cola. But either so, it was a great experience to be back. And interestingly, apart from Arsenal, surprisingly, every team that had fans back in the ground won. So that does sort of say there is that little bit of impetus. But as much as I'd like to take the credit for the victory, I don't think it was purely us 2,000. I think we just got it right on the pitch, did we not?
Yeah, it goes back to the system again that we say every week, isn't it? The 4-3-3 just works so much better. You thought at the start 4 centre-halves playing across the back 4, like how was that going to work out? And I think it worked out really well. Both Godfrey and Holgate did really well at full-back. Iwobi played great, and I personally thought we had more balance without James in the side. Not sure what you thought, Cal.
Yeah, on the performance first, I thought it was just a proper Everton performance. Just what we love, hard work, good defensive shape. The players were all up for it. I thought it was like a good performance from 1 to 11. Don't think we had a bad player on the day. Yeah, I think defensively, we defo fared better without James. We did. The defensive shape was spot on. There was no gaps. There was nothing for Chelsea really to play in. But yeah, it was just really good. As I say, proper Everton performance. And yeah, not more to it. It was just really, really, really good 1 to 11. As you said, we pointed out Iwobi. I thought Iwobi held the ball up really well. Alan for me was really, really good, quick in the press. And yeah, what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I agree. I think there was just some exceptional performances. For me, I thought Michael Keane was outstanding. I don't think he lost the ball in the air. You know, I was worried about Giroud. I think he's a good player, Giroud, and he gets them goals. When I saw him playing, I thought, oh yeah, this could be the trouble. I thought Keane played him brilliantly and was outstanding. Agree with Dawn. The two sort of centre backs at full backs didn't put a foot wrong. And to be fair, I thought Pickford played really, really well. I mean, me and Cal, I mean, we're probably both hands up. We're not the biggest fans of John Moss. I think he's been stealing a living as a referee for many, many years. And he was having another shocker, apart from the penalty award, which fair dues, he got that right. But when that one when Daniel James hit it and it came off the post and went out and he gives a corner, I was thinking, what are you doing, you idiot? It hit the post and went out. It was only later on when you got home and you saw absolutely exceptional save by Pickford. That little touch of his hand was enough to deflect it and give it an angle so it came out, not went in. And I think throughout the night, I thought Pickford was strong. And I think there's a lot to be said. If he feels comfortable with what's in front of him, then I think the team plays well and he plays well. And that was it then, to be fair. I agree. I thought Alan was exceptional. And I thought Iwobi's great. It's really good now he's playing and his brother isn't playing anymore. And we've got the player we signed from Arsenal, I think. So I'm more than happy with that. But it was the work rate for me, including, and it shocked a lot of people, Gylfi Sigurdsson, who was, again, not a fan's favourite, but I thought he had a great game.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I was a bit scared when he stepped up to take the penalty because he's missed a few, hasn't he? Bit embarrassing about Richarlison stepping him up and them having a little set too, but it was nice to see, we spoke about the captain last week. It's nice to see Alan just no messing, just get in there, take the ball, give it to Siggy and tell Richarlison to go away. I thought it was a really a tough game and a hard win.
It was bizarre, that one, wasn't it? Like, Sigurdsson just scored a penalty, so why is he going up whinging about who's taking it and whatnot? So yeah, I found that bizarre. Again, on the system, I think we defend better than a 4. And it was similar to, when Carlo first came in and we were playing 4-4-2, but we just sort of had Sigurdsson behind the striker, so he would just defend in that sort of central area. So maybe that'll be one that he goes for at Leicester again, which I'm hoping they play the same team. I know we'll touch upon it later in Dawn's already found out a few rumours of Carlo himself.
It was actually.
Yeah, I think it was just really good, shape good, defensive shape good, and I thought we deserved the win. I know Chelsea hit the post twice, but did they do much else apart from that? And they were long range shots.
Yeah,
and they've just conceded again and they're 2-1 down.
I think. Well,
yeah.
Joe's done it. I agree with you. I think people remember them hitting the post, but we created a clearer chance. I mean, again, without picking out Richarlison, he had 2 really good chances, and certainly the one early in the first half where he just literally rolled it back to the keeper. I expected him to do better. The other one, he did sort of at least pull a decent save out the keeper. But I think you're right. We created as many chances, and it was thoroughly deserved for me, and is a quality result. So the way this league's playing out, everyone's turning everyone over, wasn't it? I mean, the rest of the results that weekend, nobody else got a win. And suddenly from winning, 1 out of 5, we're right back in again. 1 in 7. Wow. Yeah. So there you go. So here we go. It's looking good. We're off to Leicester tomorrow night. 6 o'clock kickoff. Wow, that's a bloody bad telly kickoff time, isn't it? But you just mentioned it, and I was going to ask the question, Cal. What do you do? The old adage, never change a winning team. What's he doing? What do you think he's doing?
I think it's going to be a similar setup. I personally wouldn't change the team. I don't expect them to. I play the same system, same formation, so maybe a 4-4-1-1. And I think they'll play similar. I think we'll let Leicester have a lot of the ball. We know Rodgers' teams like to have possession. I think we'll try and hit them on the counter-attack. I think for me, we need to sit in a maybe deeper defensive line, to combat Vardy's pace and the pace they've got out wide. And I think we should go the same as what we did against Chelsea. But I know Dawn's heard a few whispers that are going to wind a few Evertonians up, including myself.
It was direct off Carlo himself, actually. I'm the same as you. Like, I wouldn't change the team for 2 reasons, because there's no one better fit to put in the starting lineup, and 2, because they earned the shirt, everyone that played on Saturday. So I would say the same. But rumour has it, because DCL is getting a rest at some point, that Cenk Tosun may be the lone striker against Leicester. And I don't want to see that. But with me going to Arsenal on Saturday, and with us being home on Saturday, if he's going to start, I'd prefer it to be against Leicester than against Arsenal, because if you think they play a back 3 at the moment, and Johnny Evans is the centre one who's not got any pace himself. So Cenk's probably a good match for him, rather than playing against, you know, the likes of Gabriel for Arsenal. What do you think, Nick?
I'm like you. I mean, I'm old school. I don't really get this resting players. I mean, if you're a professional footballer, you should be able to play 1, sometimes 2 games a week, because that's what you're paid to do. You'd have your rest in between the games and whatever else. So I don't buy into resting, but it's popular now in football, isn't it? And it's a plight of a lot of managers. I hope I'm wrong. I just haven't seen Tosun. When we signed him, you know, he looked on paper, he had a goal scoring record. He was scoring for Turkey. He's got the odd good goal for us. Don't get me wrong. He's been in the right place at the right time. But he's got to have a certain supply, Tosun. I think he gets on ends of crosses and things more than players a lone striker. I'm not sure he's going to do anywhere near the work that DCL does. So if we're banging it up long to him, I don't think it'll work. You know, I think if you're giving people chances, I don't know, do you give Ellis Sims a run? But I think he's probably a bit too far away from the first team just yet. So, yeah, I'm not too sure, Dawn. I'd rather he didn't, but if he is, so be it. The other one, I suppose, is the question is Seamus Coleman. He made the comment at his press conference last week, didn't he, that he wasn't fit for Saturday, but he would be fit for Leicester. Now, is he going to go and throw Seamus Coleman straight back in again? Which I think would be really harsh on whoever drops out for him.
One thing I will say, sorry, Nick, on DCL is, I mean, I know they probably monitor fitness levels and they'll know the zones that they want the players to be in, you know, during the match when they hit the red zone, amber zone, green zone, because they wear, you know, them match sports bras and that. And I just think if it's necessary, we do need to do it, because he's so big to us. Imagine if we lost him for like however long Digne's been out for, 2 months. Yeah. He's not replaceable. It's the only position where is really, really not replaceable. You've not got anyone else who can play up there and do the job he does. So I think if he does do it, we'll have to back him, because it'll be necessary. Or I don't think he'd do it at all.
No, listen, I don't disagree with you. As I say, my get out of jail card is always my age, and I've seen football over many years. I mean, I remember Liverpool winning a league championship using 13 players all season in the late 70s. So it's a different game now, and it's probably far more physical and it's far more athletic. And I think there's so many more things go into it. So no, I wouldn't disagree with you. If it's a case of miss 1 to be in for another 10 and keep his way he's playing, then that's fine. But I agree with both of you. I wouldn't change the team unless I really, really had to, as tight as that may be on Seamus Coleman as club captain. But I just don't think anyone deserved to be left out after Saturday.
Yeah, and the Cenk thing as well. If you're going to start him, I'd start him against Johnny Evans rather than against Gabriel and the Arsenal defence. Not that the Arsenal defence is great, but the more mobile, aren't they? And he's not very mobile at all.
I mean, if you're Cenk and you come in against Leicester, his role for me and what he's got to do a little bit more is he's got to get involved in the game a little bit more. From the start, I mean, we've not seen him much from the start at all. If he comes in, he holds the ball up, he brings other people into play, gets in the box himself, well, that's what you want from him.
Yeah. His best goals, Cal, you know, he got that sort of cold Christmas at Stoke. He got a couple of cracking goals, including a diving header. He's got a couple of late goals where he's got it near the front post and scored with headers. I think you're right. And actually, you know, if it's whether he throws Hammers back in, isn't it? But he could have the supply that he's not had for many, many months at Everton. So he may well prove us wrong.
I think he said James and Coleman
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
I think he needs, if he play Cenk, he needs pace around him as well because he doesn't have any himself. So, yeah, getting the ball, holding it up and spraying it, bringing people into play and stuff like that. But he needs pace around him, doesn't he? And if Siggy's sitting off behind him, then that's not pace. It was interesting to see that Gordon was on the bench, though.
Yeah, that's good.
First time in a while.
Yeah, he's clearly gone, played his games for the 23s, played well again, and is back within the squad, which is good. Yeah, and that bench is looking a little bit better, isn't it? The players are coming on and doing jobs whereby last season you were making substitutions and it was having no effect on the game. So I think there is an improvement in that way in our ability to use the bench, and Carlo's using it quite cleverly. So do we fancy our chances against Leicester then?
It'll be a tough one, won't it?
Yeah.
It always is. It's managing Vardy, isn't it? And I personally think Maddison's a bit overrated. So if Alan can have him in his back pocket and we can handle the pace of Vardy, then there's no reason why not. There's no reason why we can't beat them.
Callum?
Yeah, they're a good side, of course they are, and they're probably going to go in as favourites. I probably disagree with Dawn on Maddison. I think he's good. I think he picks the balls up in between the lines well. Brings people into play, good shots, so he's a danger for me. Vardy, think out wide, they've got some good players, decent full-backs. So, yeah, I fancy a draw, to be honest. I feel like we'll go there and get a positive result, maybe 1-1. But, sorry, just to elaborate on the young players and Sims that we've mentioned on the podcast and Gordon. For me, in January, if Gordon's not played up until January, and he's not going to get much of a chance, he needs to go out on loan. We can't waste his talent. Same with Ellis Sims. I think he turns 20 this week, and he's not played a professional game. Or has he come on once off the bench? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the end of last season.
Yeah.
He needs to be out there playing man's footy. Because, I mean, I watched a bit of that 23 stuff, and it's not youth team footy, but it is. It's a little bit old. It is what it is. On the package, it's under 23s football. It's not the same as men's footy, not the same competitiveness. You've not got fellas grafting for the career and whatnot. So for me, I don't know what you guys think, they need to go out on loan. That needs to be a necessity.
I completely agree. I think it's the only way they're going to get that experience now. Same as you, I was watching sort of some of the under 23 game, and I think a lot of it is, I mean, as a quick aside, I don't know whether you've seen the Danny Drinkwater getting petulant because some 16-year-old kicked him into a 23-year-old game. Clearly, he thinks he's past his best there, and he's lashed out at some 16-year-old. But the bottom line is that competitiveness isn't there. They get more out of playing in the Championship or in League One. I agree with you, and there's a few. I mean, I noticed Matty Pennington's back now, and he's had a couple of loan spells, but he was back in the 23s the other week, wasn't he? So there's probably a few that should be going.
Yeah, need to release him. He's clearly not good enough. Well, he came on and played in that derby and 3 goals were his fault. No, get shut of him. I think Gordon's good enough to play for us. Maybe not in a starting role, but like I wouldn't want to see him go out on loan. But if he's not going to play for us, yeah, I completely agree. He's got to be getting the right experience, hasn't he?
Yeah. No, I think it is, and then hopefully with that, with maybe the potential to get rid of a couple of players out of the squad, it may bring 1 or 2 signings in. I mean, there's very interesting talk on Twitter today around Grealish, which I'm sure is probably more from the heart than the head, but certainly people trying to claim that. I'm more liking the idea of Dele Alli. I think he could slot in and do a job for us.
What, as in you prefer Dele Alli to Grealish? I would be really excited if we got Grealish, me.
I'd like Grealish. I just don't think he'd come to Everton at this moment in time. I think now he's in England internationally, he'd probably be waiting for his some other clubs. Whereas I think Dele Alli's more realistic. I think he needs to get out of Tottenham, and I think Everton offered him an opportunity to add something to our team as well. I think.
Yeah, the rumour is that the loan deal's already been agreed, but rumour doesn't mean that it's actually happening, does it?
No, not with Everton. You never know until they're actually there holding the shirt outside Finch Farm, do you? With Everton, it's
I'd give me left bollock for Jack Grealish, but I don't think.
Allowed to say that, aren't you?
You've got to be on top of the things, Jenny. But I agree with you too. I think Dele Alli on loan will be some signing in January. You know, it's risk free, really, isn't it? Unless we get drawn into you must sign him for such and such. But I think Tottenham would probably like to see how he did at Everton.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that County Road Bobblers on Twitter really talking it up like they know something.
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens.
Yeah. I think that's probably our best bet. We said on last week's pod, didn't we, that it's probably not the time to be flashing cash. And I think the thing with Grealish is if you're flashing cash for Grealish, you're talking probably near 100,000 that Villa would be demanding for him, whereby loans would seem the best option.
Did you say 100,000? You are going back to the 70s there.
Yeah, I'm in the 70s, 100 million, sorry. Yeah, see.
He's not playing for us anymore.
He is. He's called Alan now. Similar analyses. Yeah, there you go. It's what comes of having an old bloke on the podcast. At least it throws a giggle in. So, no, cool. Which probably drags us round to Dawn's return to Goodison on Saturday with Arsenal. Here we go again, though, isn't it? Every time wounded teams turn up to Goodison, they seem to pull something out the hat. Are Arsenal good enough, or can you see us turning them over quite easily?
Well, I think that their squad hasn't been balanced for years. They've got like journeymen in the midfield, haven't they, that haven't been good enough, and all the hopes are pinned on Aubameyang. They're a bit like United, and they invest loads of money up front and forget about the defence and things like that. Aubameyang hasn't scored a goal. He's on a dry spell. He scored an Oggy the other day. You know, like you say, any bad runs, people usually end at Goodison. So I'm hoping he doesn't finish his goal drought at Goodison. But I think they're there for the taking. If we play to the best of our ability, and he doesn't play the likes of Cenk Tosun, he plays a full strength side, then there's no reason why we can't take 3 points comfortably off Arsenal. About you, Carl?
Yeah, I agree. I think Arsenal, the Saints team, they're in a bit of a crisis at the minute. I mean, we've seen some pretty poor Arsenal runs and teams over the past couple of years. This one's by far the worst. I mean, they've got some players. Xhaka is like Morgan Schneiderlin for me. He's terrible. They've got some really poor players in the squad. I think their experienced players aren't showing up. And I think the young players is where they need to go. So for me, if they've got more of their experienced players out with a few young players, I think we can go and beat them. I just think their attitude will stink. I think we actually have got a better team than Arsenal now. Sounds weird saying it, but I think 1 to 11 at the minute, we've got a better team than Arsenal have. So I'm a bit worried over the game because I hate it when we go in and we should win the game. A bit like Leeds at home. I just want us to go and win. I feel like we can go and win. Agree with what Dawn said. They're a bit of a wounded animal. They're in a crisis. Yeah, we should go and win. But yeah, we can but see. It's just Everton for you, Nick.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I think, you know, they looked to end of last season, they got the FA Cup. It looked like Arteta was getting them playing, and he looked as if he found a formula. Brought in Partey, who I thought was a half-decent signing, to be honest with you. He looked a decent player, but that midfield just hasn't gelled. I agree with you. Watching Xhaka the other night, he's just a head case. He's a liability in that team. I mean, you know, I think it'd be really interesting, him and Alan up against each other. I think, you know, a couple of tackles go in.
He's crap.
What's that?
Alan would run rings around him. He's absolutely crap.
I just think Alan would be able to wind him up as well, though. I think Alan kicked him with a couple of strong tackles early on, and he may well do it. But no, I agree with Dawn. I mean, on paper, Lacazette and Aubameyang are good and should score lots of goals. I hope it doesn't carry on Saturday. You know, it's they're going to get a result. They can get it this midweek, and then they can come back being rubbish again and stink the place out Saturday. But yeah, I think you're right. And then you've got the bizarreness of the fact they can't even bring Ozil in, even though they potentially wanted to now, because they hadn't even bothered to put him in the squad. I mean, that says an awful lot if you're prepared to, it's one thing not playing him, but not to even throw him in a squad so that you can bring him in now when actually they're probably screaming out for a little bit of creativity. So, yeah, it's sort of throw some questions up over Arteta, doesn't it, in his future? Again, sort of the Twitter world will have you believe he's probably 1-2 games from the sack.
Yeah, because isn't it something like, I don't know which way round it is, it's the worst start since the 70s, and it's 4 back-to-back home losses is the worst since the 50s, or the other way round, or whatever. So he's making a few records right there.
He's making some mistakes as well, though, isn't he? Whatever you think of the Ozil situation, but then the other one that was really strange for me was the goalkeeper. He had the goalkeeper that won the FA Cup final for him, and he does no more than flog him. And he's having outstanding games for Aston Villa, isn't he? And the keeper they've got in now he's got a few tricks and mistakes in his locker as well. So it does seem Arteta's not quite got it right. We'll see. Yeah, may end up sadly being the team that gets Arteta's the sack, but no space for feelings, is there? We just got to go out and do them. So
you'll be saying, sorry, Nick. Who do you think will have more possession? I know football's not played on possession, but I'm thinking about it now, and I think who's actually going to go and dominate the game possession-wise? I feel like Arteta's quite a defensive coach, especially if they lose Southampton this week. Is he really going to be like, all right, we're going to go and take control of possession and give Everton chances to pick us off?
No, you're probably right. I don't think they are. I think it might be a real strange setup. Like you say, the Arsenals of old used to come to Goodison. You'd hope you can grind a result out, but you were prepared to let them have an awful lot of the ball. I'm not so sure, mate. I think you might be right. I think we could well match that possession-wise, and I think hopefully push them back a little bit. I think if we score early, and as you say, they're still fragile, they don't get a result at with Southampton. I do think we could turn this one over and back to the good old days where we turned them 3-0 in Martinez's day. The year we nearly finished 4th, we were chasing them. I think it is a good... You're going in really confident against Arsenal, which is a great place to be.
Yeah, like you say, the midfield's not great. I don't think the back four is great either. So they rely on the players they've got up front, and obviously Aubameyang's not scoring, and long may that continue past Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, if I'm going back to Goodison, you best not have Cenk Tosun up front. That's not paying to see that.
You never know. Strange things happen, Dawn. Couple of goals from Cenk Tosun and we win 2-0. I'm more than happy with that. So how do we think it will end up then? We content with a positive result?
Against Arsenal, yeah, I'd go for the win.
0-0.
0-0, really?
Yeah.
Looked up Arsenal looking so weak. You just don't think so? Yeah. I tend to think we might get another 1-0. I think we will get a goal against them. But it will sort of be interesting to see what kind of side he puts out again with the way that Ancelotti works. But no, okay. Well, we got a draw and 2 victories on the back of it. Whichever way, it'll set us up. We get through the games over Christmas, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time, I think. So if there's no final comments, I thank everyone for tuning in this year. As ever, any comments, please let us know. If not, have a great Christmas, a happy New Year, and we will catch up with you early part of January, and we'll pick up and see where Everton are sitting at that point in time. Thank you.